He's a giant pedophile. His name's Larry, and he skates at the local roller rink down here still. He was doing it in the 80s. He's doing it today. His fucking afro has then shed the top, and he's got this bald spot, but he's still Larry, and he's still keeping it real, skating backwards, trying to kids at the bowling alley.
This is the Violent Professional Podcast.
Whatever happened to predictability? I got this alien dad who put me all on TV. He wants to look at my penis right now. He's got a butt and a cock and he puts it in my mouth. Woo! I had to do it. I had to sing a little song. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. I bet you didn't know it. Oh, hello, people. Thank you for joining me on another journey into madness and mayhem. I am Whiskey Mike, as you already know. I'm the host of this goddamn podcast. And I want to address the alien in the room. If you're watching the video, please subscribe. But if you're watching the video, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to address the alien in the room, all right? First off, I sang an awesome song about my alien dad who molested me as a child and put me all on TV. All right, it's a little bit of spin about Full House. I think it's interesting. I think I should write a few songs, a little bit of funny songs, and put an album out. I don't know. I've been pondering it. Have you ever pondered before? Maybe you should ponder some things. Really, I want to address the alien in the room and say this. There are many podcasts you can listen to. Many fucking podcasts that you can listen to or you can watch on YouTube or, you could subscribe to. But what I will say is this. It's not that hard to have people in a room and podcast together where you sit and talk about stuff with your friends. That's not really that big of a challenge. But there is a challenge in doing it by yourself and making it last for an hour. That's a different level of crazy that even I can't begin to even understand. You see, kids, people question why I do this sometimes. They ask me, when they find out I have a podcast, which honestly, when I'm out, I don't promote that well. And I don't promote really at all because people will assume that I'm doing a certain thing with the podcast, and they go, what's your top? What do you discuss on your podcast? I'm like, anything and everything. But you probably won't like it. That's what I say to people because it is weird and it's different, especially these episodes where I'm by myself just talking. I totally get that. But I hope people will like it. But just like. Me subscribing to the Church of the Spaghetti Monster, I don't really push my religion on people, and I don't push this podcast on people. If people find it, that's great. That's all the better. It's not just me going around and go, look at my podcast. It's not that I'm not proud of it. I'm extremely proud of it, of where it's come from to where it is today and what it is. Otherwise, I wouldn't be fucking doing it. But I'm pretty, like, I don't really talk about myself that much, unless I'm on this podcast and then I just talk about bullshit. But I don't go out there and some people that I know don't even know I have a podcast because I'm not like out there going like, hey, you should check out my podcast. It's worthwhile and it will change your life because it's none of those things. It literally is, I get bored. I sit in a room and I talk to myself or the camera or there's some imaginary people that I think will be on the other side of this fucking thing. So, some people hit me up sometimes. They're like, oh, I bet you're really embarrassed by what you said. It's like, motherfucker, I wouldn't put it out if I was embarrassed. I think the shit is funny. When I was a kid, I used to record little fucking songs or whatever. I'd have like a beat going and record these stupid songs where I would free flow. This is kind of the next evolution of that, except I'm fucking 38. I still haven't gotten over that. I still haven't grown up, apparently. Anyway, if you're watching the video, look at this fucking sick jersey. It's baseball season up in this bitch. Got this Violent Professional podcast jersey that I got made. It says Whiskey Mike on the back, and I already got nacho cheese on it over the weekend. I was making microwave nachos, and I destroyed this thing, but I haven't washed it yet because I'm afraid to. I don't know what's going to happen with the fucking embroidery and shit, so I just don't. Should probably clean it, though. That's probably the appropriate move. But if it's my nacho making jersey, why the fuck would I clean it? Those are battle scars. So, yeah, I wouldn't do this podcast if I didn't like it, and I hope some of you like it. I hope some of you enjoy it. I think you do. We've got a decent following and a lot of listeners and people all over the world that still tune in. Like people from Australia love this shit. I don't understand why. I don't understand why any of you listen, but I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it because I listen to these episodes after I do them, so I know why you were listening. Now, I was going to record this episode over the past weekend, and so that you would have an episode on Monday, which was yesterday for me, recording now. But while I was setting up the equipment, because I broke it down to go to record an episode in Texas with a friend of mine, which I was not able to do, I was setting up all the equipment, and while I was doing it, I was like pre-gaming for the podcast. This was like Friday night, I believe, or Saturday, something like that. I was pre-gaming to record an episode because I wasn't doing the episode in Texas. I was like, I'll just record an episode now. And I had a few ideas. So what you're going to witness over the course of however long is the result of what my brain was doing over the course of last week, which is honestly how I do all of these episodes, to be honest, by myself, is throughout the week, I write down ideas that come to me, and I don't force the ideas. They just come into my head, and I go like, hey, what about that? Hey, what about this? And so we're going to see what happens today. I got thoughts, and like many of you have thoughts. There's a thing that I do that I started hearing a while ago in my early life. And you hear this too. It's like, man, that'd be a great idea. I made it a habit of writing every little fucking thing down that was like a great, quote unquote, great idea, regardless of what it is. So like wherever I'm at, I get inspiration from anything, all of the stimulus in the world. And so I write ideas down that kind of, maybe not a full thought. Maybe I'm just like, that's interesting or whatever. And so last week I wrote down a bunch of things. And specifically, this episode's going to be about fucking aliens. And again, not fucking aliens, but it'll be about aliens. And maybe they fuck. I don't know what they do. We haven't found them yet. All right. We're going to talk about aliens. We're going to talk about the product of aliens, what I think they're doing in China, what I think we're doing in America, this UFO phenomenon I talked about. I'm going to readdress that because I think it's plausible. And how it all applies to social media and why you bunch of delinquents out there are fucking, you're losing your minds. All right. I'm going to try to talk about all this stuff, including some fitness, and what I've been doing over the past few weeks out of sheer boredom. And I'm going to try to tie all that stuff together and make it relate to each other. So I'll start off with what I've been doing, as many of you are interested in hearing what I've been doing. As you may or may not have known, I moved to Arkansas, and so I've been working on stuff, podcasts and otherwise. And so because I'm out here alone, I'm a solo man. I'm a fucking traveling individual. Many times I get bored, especially on the weekends. Some of you get bored. It's a thing that happens with people when they don't have enough to do, I guess. But I get a little bit bored on the weekend looking at my fucking dog and her face. She wants me to throw the ball for her. I can only throw the ball so much. It's you get tired of that. You can't just throw it for fucking hours. I mean, you could, but she's got an endless supply of energy. She's a Belgian Malinois, and she just doesn't stop. And she looks at you like, hey, what's the next thing you're going to do? So the next thing I'm going to do with her is usually, I wake up on the weekends and I get my shit together eventually after I drink a massive amount of caffeine because I feel like I'm dying half the day. I get my shit together, get my hiking shoes. I get a little backpack with some medical supplies for in case I fall down a fucking cliff. Because if you've ever been to Arkansas or seen any pictures that I posted or I've been there, it's like these fucking hills you climb off and sheer faces drop off into fucking oblivion and then you can fucking die. So in case I like roll an ankle or something like that or just rip my skin completely open from a fucking warthog attack, I got medical supplies for that. Which honestly, like out in the woods hasn't been that dangerous to me other than a few bees. And it's been in the house where I've been washing fucking knives and slicing my finger open, and now it's pretty much disabled. I can only do this. My finger only works half the time. So here's an idea. If you cut yourself with a fucking a super sharp Ginsu knife, go get stitches if it's bleeding for fucking 4 hours. Consult your doctor if your finger is bleeding for 4 or more hours. And like my finger doesn't work. It's fucking stupid. I can't, it's all crooked and shit. Try to keep yourself healthy. Get real fucking healthy. You're a healthy boy. So I go on hikes. I've been going on a lot of fucking hikes, and I'm venturing all over the state because it's not a big state, but I'm trying to hit everything here. On the weekends, I go, skydiving from time to time. I try to go every weekend because that's my jam. But I also, because you can't fucking skydive all the time. Because honestly, for me, like if I jump a shit ton on one weekend, I get bored of it. As weird as it thinks for the non-jumpers, but for the people that jump or skydive, I think you know what I mean. Like you jump a bunch on one day and then go back the next day, and while it's fun, it just it's like anything, it gets old. So. So I've been hiking a lot. I've been getting out there in the trails, and just so happens I found this one that was 8 something miles. I looked on, I got a website I go to. I think it's Arkansas Trail Finder or something like that, and you can basically go like, what's within this certain distance? What are the hikes? What are the distance? How hard is it? All that good stuff. And so I like to, if I'm doing like a workout, which I kind of have been treating it like that because I haven't been to the gym that much, especially with my fucking finger. It's been fucked up so badly that I don't even want to touch a weight. Like it's right now, it fucking hurts. But and this has been like 2 fucking weeks. But anyway, so I've been using the trail as a means of working out. Well, I can't go to the gym right now. I mean, I can, but it's not really in my fucking, I'm not really interested in going there with a fucked up hand. How am I going to represent the gun show with some fucking bum ass finger when I'm curling 5-pound weight dumbbells, 5-pound curls? Get the fuck out of here. I only do 12-ounce curls, 16-ounce, depending on the size of the beer can. But I've been getting out there on the trail, and I found this one that was 8.4 miles or something like that, and about 1,000 foot of elevation gain. And so I'm driving out there and found this fucking trail, which it was like completely overgrown. But as I'm going, I fucking hit one of those big ass potholes and fucked my car up. But that's another story altogether. But so I go on this trail and I'm fucking hiking it out, and there's this. It's overgrown. It's like it's got fucking vines and shit everywhere. There's tons of insects and wildlife all over the place. And I'm like, you can tell if you've ever been on an old fucking trail that people don't visit, you can tell it's like, wow, this is wild. This is a different kind of trail. You might have to fucking, jump over bushes or find another way because there's trees falling over that, are blocking your way. And it's just, it's not really... it's not really, how do I describe this? It's just not a good hiking experience where you can just easily go through it. For some of you, that's a good thing because you like the adventuristic type of, is that a word? Adventuristic. You like the austere type of trail, which to some regards is appealing, but I don't like the bees. I don't like fucking insects fucking with me, which is what usually happens on those. And so off we go. I brought my dog Zia. We were off we going into the wild. And so we end up getting about halfway through, and then there's this overlook. There's like a sign on the trail, that says this is Spy Rock, which is it's this overlook that looks over the valley where we just came from a park. So I was like, let's do that. And then it ends up being about adding another mile out, mile back, I believe, or somewhere around there. And sat there kind of during the sunset. And as I'm sitting there, I'm like, wait a second. I'm 5 miles away and it's sunset. Like, what the fuck am I doing out here? I'm going to get eaten by a goddamn bear. So I'm like, this sunset is beautiful. I took a picture. My dog was like, looked at this cliff and she was, no fucking way, boss. I'm not going near there. I'm like, come here, pup. And she's like, fuck you. I'll push you off this goddamn thing before I get close to that fucking cliff. So she's very aware of heights, which is awesome because I don't want her to like try and pull me off if I'm on a leash with her or something near a cliff, because there's tons of them out here. It's such a beautiful place in Arkansas, but it's like there's so many fucking ways to die here. And I'm going to talk about some of the other ways to die. But so we're going. I'm like, fuck it, this is beautiful, but we got to go back to the car. And so we're going, run into a few bees that want to take my goddamn head off. Those motherfuckers are like straight towards my fucking head. I found a very successful means of avoiding them. So they come up and you hear them go, and they start getting closer. And I wait till they're just about to fucking land on me and get behind me so they can land on my backpack or whatever the fuck it is. And then I book it, so as I'm like doing this, because it's happened fucking 20 plus times on this trip, as we're getting towards the end, we're about fucking mile. Now mind you, this is a fucking 10-mile hike at this point, total, after I took that detour and I'm going back. So it's getting dark because remember, I left at fucking sunset from the cliff. Fucking idiot. I had a flashlight, I'm very confident in the woods. I didn't have any fear of that. But then I was like thinking like, this is a really austere type of trail. I just don't know. My dog, one of her benefits is that she's like a pathfinder for me. Like there's been times where literally I have been hiking late in the dark and at night and she guides the way. I'm not even joking. If you ever run into Mark, he'll tell you the story of how I made it off of Lake of the Angels in Washington down this fucking massive mountain in basically pitch black, and it was because of my dog, and she was a little puppy at the time. It was crazy. So she has a sense about her that she can see, like even if a trail is overgrown, she can kind of tell she's supposed to go a certain way. So that's kind of what was happening this time. But anyway, even though it's gray, I would describe the woods and the time of day as gray because it was not dark out. I could see the sun above, but the light was just not entering into the canopy of the forest. And some parts were thick and so, in terms of the foliage, and some were not. So it's like, it's gray. It's gray, even though you could see light ahead, the light's not entering. So as we're going down this, I hear this fucking bee in the gray section of the fucking forest. And as I'm doing and I'm like, motherfucker. And I could barely see because it's dark in that section of trees. And so I'm running and the thing is like, it's on me. Some might say that running from bees is not a good thing and you shouldn't show fear and shit. But I say, fuck that. And I'm like, I've had great success with running away from the bees. And I do the same thing every time. I just wait till they just zip past my head and then I go, fucking go. And I yell at my dog and she runs and shows me the way. But I take about 3 steps and I roll my fucking ankle as I'm going because, again, it's dark out and I can't fucking see. Roll my ankle and I'm like, no! And I'm hobbling down this fucking trail and the bee is just zipping around me. For whatever reason, the thing just zipped off and didn't fucking get me. Maybe he felt bad for me. He's like, you old fuck. I thought this was going to be a challenge. But, yeah, so we continue on and we get there and by the time I got back to my car, it was super fucking dark out. and my cell phone was dead, and I had this little ass fucking flashlight, which the batteries were dying. And go check your fucking batteries before you go. Sometimes I get complacent with my batteries, or whatever. I was taking video with my GoPro that died, and then I had to go to my cell phone, which wasn't desirable. But the GoPro batteries, I guess it's old or something like that, and so I was like, I'm gonna record this and do a Patreon video. So I'm gonna be releasing something on Patreon here soon, but today it's like documenting what I'm talking about right now, which is cool. So yeah, my cell phone died. I had no I had a little flashlight, and so trying to make my way back. And I'm talking about the cell phone because I had my park location, and so I get back and I'm like, I don't even know where my car is, because the trail came out of a different section. So anyway, that was my experience. Yeah, I've been using the trail for some fitness. It's a great alternative to getting to the gym. You want to do some cardio, you can just run down a trail, get a backpack on, go out in the wild, have a good time. There's something that happens with people, I think, where you shut your cell phone down, put it in your backpack or put it away or leave it in the car, and you just fucking go into the woods and experience real life and detach from all of the fucking stimulus of the world, or like any connection to anybody. I like to bring myself. usually mark my location with my cell phone and throw it in my bag, and then in case I get lost or something like that. Because for me, I don't like to usually, like, if I see some trails that go off, and like I think Sunday I did another hike. But if I see like trails that go somewhere else, I'm like, I'll go check that out. And then if I ever get into a jam, I just pull out my cell phone and it tells me where I'm at. So there's something about nature and just disconnecting from the rest of the world that is so refreshing to me as a person. And I think if you're feeling shitty because of social media or whatever, and I think that's honestly like what a lot of people go through this day and age is with the social media. It's like you see all the fucking bullshit of the world. You're forced to see other people's shit. You look at these fucking idiot kids on the social media, and you're like, how the fuck are you famous? Like, you see a lot of people on that social media that it's clear that they paid for their massive amount of followers. They're not really interesting. Like, I'll just explain. There's like these two twins that were like fucking wrestlers, and they look like who is a Beaker from fucking Sesame Street. Two blonde twins from like fucking some fucking Eastern Bloc country, and they do the dumbest shit ever. They like do stupid twin jokes, and they'll be like, they'll do, for example, they'll go look in a mirror and they go, oh my God, there's 4 of us. How are there 4 of us? And I'm not like, that sounds retarded, but that's exactly what they do. And they have a massive following of millions of followers, and fucking people love their shit for some reason. And I don't get it. They're like probably about 10 years younger than me, and there's no excuse for it. I don't fucking get it. I don't like it, but I can't stop looking at it because I just don't understand it. It's like I'm trying to figure it out. It's like I'm trying to fucking like translate the Dead Sea Scrolls or some shit, and I'm like, what does it say? Why are you famous? That's really what I fucking don't understand. Like, I get if they're famous from wrestling, but what they do on social media is so fucking ridiculous. Oh my God, there's 4 of us, and they speak in some weird fucking like accent. I can't even place my finger on where it would be from. Couldn't say Russian. It's fucking like made up. I don't know. Oh my God. Like this video, my twin has to do what I say for 24 hours. It's like fucking, ow! It's like me singing this Alien Dad song, which by the way is a banger. Which brings me to my next point. Those fucking weird blonde fucking Finlandic people, they might be aliens. And I'll explain that. I think there is a great possibility that most of us are fucking aliens. And I've talked about this before in the past. It's a theory that there is out there that, people might be created by other aliens, and our DNA was implanted in monkeys, and the DNA changes. And you hear all about it on different podcasts and theories like that. But for me, I don't want to get into like how this happened. I don't think that I know or anybody else knows, right? I can only theorize what I think. But I'm going to go past that, and I'm going to just talk about what's the evidence for the fact that we might all be fucking aliens. And it's quite fucking simple. I got a dog, super hairy, hair everywhere. My dog's got fucking chest fro down into its ball pubes. Which begs the question, do dogs have pubes? Do animals have pubic hair? I haven't figured that one out yet. That's a question that needs answering. Do animals have pubic hair? I would assume that animals have a pubic region, but do they have the hair that's called the pubics? And I would assume that it's called pubic hair, but where does the line exist? Humans have a clearly defined area of the pubis, and you would be able to say, that's a bush, and you could understand that. Do animals have the same thing? Have you seen a big hairy bush on a lion? Do they have bushes? Like, is there an animal out there you're like, look at that fucking bush, and it's like short hair and then a big fucking 80s style bush over their fucking cockenberries? Is there anything out there? Like, is there a zebra with curly pubes that stick over its fucking wiener as it's running around doing zebra shit? Is there a hamster that, is embarrassed by him, his fucking testicle sack that's covered in fucking fine pubes? These are questions that need answering. Birds have feathers, alligators have scales. Aliens here have some sort of carapace. Beetles, they've got this hard shell. Crabs, not talking about the crabs that you may have, but I'm talking about crabs, like crabs you eat at Red Lobster or any sort of colored lobster. Any restaurant that serves lobster and crabs, they have a hard carapace outer shell that turns red when you boil it. That's odd to think about. Like shrimp and crabs and lobster bisque. You throw them in a pot, they scream because they're just like, fuck, I'm getting boiled alive. And then they turn red. Who decided that? Put a little butter on there. That's delicious. Speaking of crabs and lobster, there's a guy on Instagram called Stale Cracker Official, and he's like from Louisiana or something like that. He's like Cajun, I think. But he has some interesting content. Go check it out. It's just a shout out. I think his content's interesting. It's very much the same all the time, but he's in the fucking bayou or some shit, and he's like snagging alligator snapping turtles and fucking teaching you how to cook shrimp in interesting ways. But he's got like huge pots that boil, like have huge boiling pots and stuff. I don't actually know what he does for a living. He probably does that. He's a YouTube person or TikTok. But anyway, get back to it. Like shrimp, crabs, fucking any animal out there covered in fur, covered in hair, monkeys even covered. That's our closest relative, right? All covered in a fine set of armor, a fine set of fur. Some may or may not have pubes. Who knows? But we're very different. There's some hairy people out there. I am of the shorn variety. I'm a freshly shorn sheep. In fact, sheep, they've got that fucking lanolin. It's a nice coat of fur. You think about alpacas. Look at their hairstyles. They're fancy. But humans are very different. We have hair in very specific regions. We got it in the armpits, on top of the head in a pattern. Our faces, and then our ball bags, and some of our legs. Some people are hairier than others, but some of us are freshly shorn sheep. I am one of those people. I don't feel on a general day, I don't feel uncomfortable in my own skin, but I look at some of these animals like a crab, and he's got to just be fucking miserable. And maybe they don't think about it. my dog will go out in the woods and get some ticks, and she's fucking miserable. She's covered in hair. I try to relate it to like my head. My hair's not. It's not. It doesn't annoy the fuck out of me, but I could just assume that when I had that long, glorious mane. I had that long, glorious mane, which is starting to come back, and I'm not too fond of it. That's how I know that it's fucking miserable, because I don't like that much hair. It got to a place where I got used to it, and maybe that's the key. Maybe I'm just looking too hard at what the answer is here. But if I was an alien, think about an alien. They're very smooth. If you look at the classical depiction of them, there's none with hair. Is that a chicken and the egg scenario? Like the chicken created the egg? Or the egg the thing that created the chicken? Which came first? Is the alien the thing that created us, or are we the ones that created the aliens? Or did we create other animals? Did we do tests? Are we out there? We ask the question, are we a product of the aliens? But do you think the aliens are asking if they're a product of us? These are questions that need answering. I like to think that we have alien DNA, and we were created in some sort of test tube. At least the first few. Because we're very different than any other animal. I mean, you talk about zebras, you talk about giraffes, you talk about anything. They're all hairy and fucking gross, So maybe, just maybe, we have alien DNA. And that's my proof for the fact that we are aliens, part of us, some of us, And some are more alien than others. How we got to this place in life, no idea. No idea, and I don't care. I'm just happy I'm not covered in fucking fur or shells or a carapace. Not today. Hopefully not ever. Hopefully, you ever seen that movie, fucking District 9, where the dude turns into a bug at the end? He's like just he's got that weird Australian accent. He's been in a bunch of movies, but he's got that weird alien accent. Or whatever it is. That's not very South African. G'day, Cheffy! And he's in robot movies, and he's got that weird, Australian accent, or not Australia, but he's got that weird South African accent that you can kind of tell what they're saying, but he's speaking some fucking gibberish. Great actor, but he's in not Wreck-It Ralph. Who is it? That movie where it's like first person and he's running around. I can't remember it. But yeah, it's like District 9. Like he turns into a bug person because he opened some device in the alien spaceship and it blasted some black goo in his face. Yeah. So I hope one day that doesn't happen to all of us, or some of us. I hope especially it doesn't happen to me. I'd fuck all of you. I just don't want that to happen to me. But if it does happen to some of you, I might fucking freak out, because then there's a bunch of bug people running around. And I'd be like, I wouldn't be, the only thing I think is like, how uncomfortable are you? My skin gets a little dry sometimes. I'm super uncomfortable. I've got to itch my itchy back. And then, but I could imagine how the pain and the discomfort of having fucking alien bug skin. Jesus Christ. What do you think the potential possibility is that this whole story, if you've heard about it, that there are, and it goes along with what I'm saying, because remember, I'm trying to tie in everything here. The hiking was tied into bug life, which is, to talk about aliens, and then here we are. There's a lot of talk about Chinese human-animal hybrids. What if that's what we're from? A monkey scientist working with an alien, a smooth alien body, created some variant, and here we are. And then we're reverse engineering that to the pig person that is in the Chinese labs. You think about alien or human animal hybrids from China. Jeez, dude, like, are they ever going to stop? I'm talking about the Chinese specifically. What the fuck is up with those people? They're creating viruses in labs. They're letting that shit out. See what happens. There comes the disclaimer on this episode. For more information, visit this website fucking so we can tell you what the real thing is and that it's not leaked out of a lab. But, they're horrible at keeping things in labs. What if one of those fucking alien or those human-animal hybrids gets out? Mixed with octopus or fucking pig and elephant DNA? What about a fucking man-bear pig? I mean, that's possible now if they're making fucking super soldiers in labs. So, you gotta watch out for those people. Not all of them. That's pretty racist to say. I'm just saying that you gotta watch out for that crazy, the doctors, all right? Watch out for the doctors. You gotta question. You go to the doctors, you're like, they're trying to do experiments on you and stuff. I would hate to see any of you turn into an animal hybrid, human animal. You know what else was created by doctors was Dawn soap. So Dawn soap. And this applies because, they use it on fucking ducks and shit that go oil. Also created by man. Oil is created by man. The spills, they're created by men. But Dawn, I don't believe those commercials. I don't believe the scientists that created that shit either. So... This episode's going off the rails. I don't care. I don't fucking care. I enjoy talking to the invisible crowd behind the camera. You know what? You should shut this episode off right now. It's only going to get fucking worse. Because I don't even know. What do I have written down here? If aliens are real, and... some may say that we're in a fucking alien zoo or a human zoo or the whole world is a zoo. We're in a zoo and that's why we're not fucking seeing them. They're not exposing themselves to us. I just thought about an alien in a trench coat as I was saying that. But they're not exposing their positions to the world. They're not sort of UFOs. That may or may not be alien technology. It might be us. If I'm being honest, the more I think about this alien UFO shit, could be us. But no, I believe. If we are, being observed by aliens, and this is a zoo, a lot of the stuff would make sense. Especially if it was like ideas and thoughts are introduced by lizard people or whatever out there. And I look at it like this. We've got all different kinds of fucking animals in the wild. And in Arkansas alone, there's a lot of weird animals. They're super dangerous. Humans are on that list because if you believe it or not, we're all animals. The human animal. But we got black bears. I'm thinking about like the most dangerous animals in regards to people in Arkansas. And it's like black bears, western diamondback, rattlesnakes. Snakes, of course, are dangerous. We got mountain lions, deer, number one killer of fucking people. It's honestly, if you didn't know this is a fucking true stat of all animals in the United States. Deer kill 50,000 people a fucking year. Now, how do they do that? They like see a headlight and they're like, whoa, and then they go like, oh, it's coming right for me. Oh, so I might as well run towards it. And it's like it darts towards the car, causes a giant accident, or they're like standing on the side, they're like, no, bro. All the deer friends like, you go. And then it's like, no, I'm not going to fucking go. Oh, God. And he panics and darts across there and people ruin their fucking 1997 Chrysler LeBaron, which absolutely explode the deer when he gets hit by it. But anyway, I didn't know that before this episode. Before like writing down some thoughts that deer are the number one man killer in the United States in terms of animals. So that's interesting. I thought about like a deer rearing up and fucking like boxing the shit out of a fucking hunter. That would be cool. You ever see that video where like fucking deer come out and just bash the fuck out of people? That's awesome. They get angry. They're angry elves. But hunters also. They're just fucking drunk ass hunters. Hunters that like just get excited about anything moving and they shoot without actually knowing what the fuck they're shooting at. That's a real problem. That's why you wear vests and shit in the woods. This is interesting about Arkansas. It's number 8 for the place. Number 8 out of 50 of the places that's easiest to die by animals. That's fucking crazy. But anyway, how did I get on that tangent? How did I get onto that? I was talking about animals, humans that are, we're in a zoo. We're in a fucking zoo. And it would make total sense because let's talk about social media for a second. How did you get here, social media? Well, it's kind of like a zoo if you think about it. It's little windows that you look into and you walk by, and I mean that in the terms of you swipe and look at other people's fucking lives and their casseroles and their fucking dance moves and shit, specifically dance moves. There's a lot of fucking handicapped people on there that are fucking either themselves or their fucking handlers have made profiles for them. To gain financially off of and continue to make fucking inspirational videos for the fucking world to see. Which is not, it's kind of fucked up. I think we've talked about it before, but there's a lot of fucking pages out there that have really fucking handicapped people that don't even know. You can tell they don't even know where the fuck they are. And somebody's doing their fucking profiles. And some of them are fucking disturbing because you'll see that like the person that's like their handler will like show up every so often in a picture and be like, oh, there's and some of them are super creepy, like it's siblings and shit, and it's like, oh, look at Cynthia in her party dress, and it's like it's a fucking piece of lingerie, and this person is just completely out of commission as far as what's going on, and it's like, your brother fucking dressed you in that, you sick fuck. Like, I'm not saying that the person that's handicapped is a sick fuck, but there's just the fucking handlers and the people that make these profiles to fucking capitalize on the disability. It's so fucking twisted. If I can't even think for a second that anybody would do one of these profiles would be watching or listening to this podcast. But if you do that kind of stuff, you fucking twisted, incestuous fuck, you fucking piece of shit. You know you're fucking doing something wrong. There's reasons you do it. You're either a fucking weirdo that likes to look at your brother or sister's fucking puss or balls while they're fucking out of commission, or you're just not their fucking brother or sister and you're fucking just pretending and you're making money off of them, or you are their brother and sister and you're just fucking making money off them. 3 ways and you're just fucked up. All of those. You should feel horrible about yourself and walk into fucking traffic and go get hit by a deer that tries to hit a car and they box you in the face with their cloven hoofs. Because you fucking suck. Anyway, there's some really fucked up things on the internet. There's a lot of, one of the things that we've been talking about also, and I'm not talking about we as in me and my fucking alien dad here. I'm talking about like myself and some of the dudes. It's like there's these profiles of these people that you can tell they do not have disorders. They're fucked up because they're pretending like they have disorders. They're like, I'm autistic, I'm highly functional. It's like, well, then everybody is, because you're doing normal ass stuff. Like they'll go into fucking Starbucks and be like, I was just really upset about my low fat Maca Cheeto frappe didn't come out and I just was out of commission for the rest of the day. And then they show like a video of them like holding themselves like, I can't even talk to you right now. It's like, all of his stimulus. It's like, shut the fuck up. You found a way. You did it. You found a way for the sympathy vote on fucking social media so that people would follow your boring ass life. Because you probably have nothing wrong with you and you're just doing this for fucking people to give you fucking likes and comments. And that intangible currency that you love so much. Oh, yes. It's made you feel fucking special. And maybe you are special. You're very special. And there's a lot to say about that. It's like, well, there's nothing wrong with them. But if they're doing that shit, there's a whole bunch wrong with them. That's maybe self-induced. It's because their life fucking sucked before, and they're just like, I want to be famous on Instagram. Now I have 2 million followers. I just pretended to have cerebral palsy. Like, you're fucking walking around and fucking dancing and shit like that. You don't have cerebral palsy. Do the stanky leg. I do the stanky leg. I do the stanky leg. I don't give a fuck if you're offended by this. It's that somebody's got to say it for these fucking bullshit ass profiles of people that want people to feel bad for them, and you get that like because it's like, oh, you're such an inspiration. You walked to the fucking couch today. It's like, shut the fuck up. There's some legitimate people out there that are disabled and have real fucking issues, and I kind of float on this. Like some of these pages, I'm like, okay, they're doing this to help this person's treatment. I get it. Like, this is an honorable thing, I guess. But then there's the other side of it's like, buy my merch, and it's like fucking a picture of them with like, yeah, and if this is gonna be the fucking episode that gets me shut down, I don't give a fuck. But yeah, it's the internet is such a weird place, and so if it would make sense that this is a fucking zoo. And people are watching us for entertainment, or it's a TV show on some intergalactic fucking thing. Because we all are floating around on a fucking satellite. And I don't mean that in the terms of a satellite dish or a fucking satellite in space that floats around this planet. I'm talking about a satellite fucking planet can also be called a satellite. Get it? It's a floating spaceship that we're all fucking circling around, and maybe there's fucking alien life watching us as entertainment. It could be as simple as that. And it is weird. It's weird for all of this, including what I'm doing right here. I'm fucking talking into a fucking series of boxes and cables and shit for your enjoyment. And let's be honest, for mine. I'm watching my own TV show play out here. But it is a unique thing. It's very interesting to see that people do this. People are okay with everybody in the fucking world looking at themselves because they can curate that for the world. But it's not okay when I'm standing outside of it's not okay when I'm standing outside of your fucking window jerking off in the bush. How is that any different than me jerking off on my phone looking at your dance moves? Well, it's because I'm there and I'm looking at you and you don't want to see it. No, but it's like, if I could just be honest about it, it's like people just put their fucking lives out there. And now you don't even have to fucking go do what I just say. You don't even have to go look in their window. You just open up a phone. You open up a phone and you're brought into their life. And that's the part that bothers me a lot about social media, is that it's a fucking black box that I can fucking just at any moment stop what I'm doing and go, oh, let me fucking look at this hot chick, and just go, oh yeah, some chick that'll never fuck me. Oh, and you can just look at disabled people that someone made a profile for so they could take advantage of the situation. You can look at really talented people, more talented than me, huh? You can look at this page. This is the social media page. You can look at a number of things. You can look at science stuff. You can look at really fucked up shit on the internet. You can look at, people making fucking food and on fitness journeys because they were so fucking fat before and now they're fucking doing stairs and I lost 500 pounds but I'm still fucking 600 pounds. Look at me. I'm an inspiration. You're not an inspiration. You are a fucking person that got that fat and then you fucking decided you're going to be like, I'm going to lose the thing that I put on myself, and everybody's be like, yay, thank you for Monday. I didn't think I could do it without you. This is just what I needed to hear. If this isn't a fucking zoo, what the fuck is it? Think about it logically. If this is anything, it could be an experiment. It could be a natural occurrence, which I don't tend to believe. It could be a fucking zoo or a science experiment or a fucking natural occurrence. And that's 5 things that I think I said more, but the same things. It's highly likely that this is a fucking zoo or an alien TV show or some shit. There's something watching us, fucking looking at us. I tend to think that that's what this is, because it just, a lot of the times it doesn't make sense. It's almost like the game of Sim City. Remember that? You can fucking, You could just build up this fucking badass city with a bunch of infrastructure, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm gonna fucking do an earthquake, and you just fucking whatever, and then Godzilla comes out of the sea and smashes your beautiful creation because you like to watch the world burn. And we do that every fucking day when we post anything on social media. So of course we're a zoo. Of course that's what the fuck this is. That's what I think. What do you think this place is? Exposing ourselves to the world, but how dare you go outside of my house and look in the windows? Bitch, you fucking did this. You fucking did it for the world, and it's just me and I can't do that. All jokes aside, I don't go and do any of that because I'm too fucking lazy to go look through anybody's window, and I don't really want to fucking see anything. In fact, I don't ever want to see people ever. You know, that's why I have trouble in relationships, because I like, you know, I like company, but I just don't like the other stuff of having to fucking talk to you or, you know, spend time with you. Like, it's rather be on Call of Duty fucking bunker busting. You know, there are real weird people out there, and I think about, like, if we could think about any sort of decade so far that I've experienced, or you think back, it's like you know, 60s, the fucking hippie shit, and going into the 70s, you know, talk about the drugs and stuff like that, World War II era, like the 40s, 50s, 30s, the roaring 20s, like all that stuff building up until the 80s is not really that weird. And then let's blow past the 80s, all right? Like the 90s was just a bunch of fucking like bowl cuts and fucking brown corduroy pants and fucking, you know, people figuring themselves out what they, you know, what they were doing with themselves in life. 90s is just like precursor to the fucking 2000s, and then here we are in the 2000s. The one decade I think is like has the, you know, if social media was, think about that. If social media was around in the fucking 80s, what kind of weird shit would we have documented, right? So like I think about if this is a zoo and like going back to the fucking the evolution of like, you know, people socially and, you know, in fashion sense and stuff like that. Think about the fucking 80s. It's the weirdest, I think one of the weirdest fucking decades that there's been, maybe. I can't put my finger on another decade that's like super weird, because even in the 90s we had awesome fucking music. And 80s, like think about the music from the 80s too. It's all fucking weird. Trying to do the Bee Gees. She's dancing, dancing. And maybe that's from the 70s. I don't fucking know. But yeah, so like, you know, we could look at it and be like, what if social media existed back in the 80s? How much, like I just said, how much would we bring back? All you got to do is take a trip down to your local roller rink, and you can see all of that still. Did you know roller rinks exist? Well, they do. They still do. They're right next door, and sometimes in the same building as the bowling alley. Which all, oddly enough, have the same fucking smell. It's like that smell came directly from the 80s. Like, if you want a full experience of the 80s, go to any fucking bowling alley. It's the shoes, because the shoes that you wear at the roller rink, or excuse me, the bowling alley, the shoes at the roller rink would be roller skates. The shoes that you wear at in the fucking bowling alley that you rent, that they just spray with fucking disinfectant spray, are like literally would be something that people would wear in the fucking 80s. And so it has that smell. It's like a fucking it's like time travel, you know. But I like think about those things, and I'm like, man, if this is a zoo, what kind of fucking people would exist in those fucking habitats? You know, and we had different environments. Like this would be the fucking bowling alley exhibit, and it's like you could equate it to like the killer whale exhibit, or the fucking polar bear exhibit, or the penguin exhibit. It'd be like the bowling alley exhibit, or the roller rink exhibit. And you have people in there that are fucking like doing weird kind of moves, especially like the fucking guy that's way too old to be at the fucking roller rink. And his name's like Larry and shit. And he's usually the guy, he's the white dude with an afro and a fucking shirt that's like up open, like my fucking jersey here. It's like open, fucking way too many buttons, and he's wearing fucking tight ass fucking bell bottoms with fucking roller skates. And he owns those roller skates, much like he owns a set of bowling shoes and a fucking bowling ball that's been personalized. But the dude's just fucking, he's the one guy that like you as a kid are so impressed by, because he's the one dude that can fucking skate backwards around the whole fucking thing, which is in a way super creepy. It's like a fucking mating call for fucking creepers, you know? And you're in the roller rink and you're looking up to this fucking weird fucking white afro wearing motherfucker that's roller skating backwards, and he's roller skating backwards right into your little child heart. You know, you're like looking up to that dude, and he's definitely the fucking dude that would fuck you if you weren't fucking paying attention, you know? He's a giant pedophile. His name's Larry, and he skates at the local roller rink down here still. He was doing it in the 80s. He's doing it today. His fucking afro has then shed the top, and he's got this bald spot, but he's still Larry, and he's still keeping it real, skating backwards, trying to fuck kids at the bowling alley. You know, you got to watch out for your kids. That's a cautionary tale. You know, watch out for fucking Larry. He'll get you. Maybe not you because you're an adult now, but he would have about fucking 20 or 30 years ago. But anyway, this is my thesis on why we are the product of aliens, and we're in a zoo currently. I hope it makes sense. I don't know if it does. You know. That's what I think. You know, that's what I think this all is. I think, you know, I just explained it. I'm going to say it again. Anyway, I appreciate you checking in this episode. I was completely sober. So maybe that explains some of it. Should do the next one drunk yet again. I figured I'd try it out. I've had some success on some of the best episodes about me just drinking energy drinks and fucking hanging out. But I appreciate you checking out this episode. If you've gotten this far, thank you. I love you. You know, please subscribe. Please tell people of this podcast. Just share the fucking episodes, the clips, whatever. Subscribe on YouTube, specifically YouTube. Trying to grow that. And if you believe in the power of the Violent Professional Podcast, if you believe in the power of the Death Cheetah, please support the fucking companies that we have, you know, have been fucking been talked about in this episode or in the link or any of these things. Go check out Uncanna. Use code VioPro. Go check out Strikeforce Energy. Use code Evil Vibes. Go check out Ping Pong Tactical and use VioPro as well. And those are usually on our social medias. You know, you got links in the bio. And if you believe in this podcast, support those fucking companies. They do a lot for things. You know, Strikeforce Energy, love to drink it. Ping Pong Tactical, they make holsters for, you know, all you Second Amendment believers and people that just want to defend themselves. And Uncanna CBD, get rid of that anxiety. You know, I could use some Uncanna right now, but I am not taking Uncanna right now. But you go do that. So, again, thank you for checking out this podcast. Please steer clear of any roller rinks, bowling alleys, or anybody named Larry. And we'll see you next time.